My name's Jamie Barsky. I'm a clinical psychologist and the clinical lead for Anonymind, which is a specialist treatment service for people with gambling addiction. This video is really aimed at the friends and family members of people that are struggling with gambling addiction, people that we call affected others. The aim of the video is to offer some advice and guidance and some tips on how to start those really difficult conversations with people you care about who you're worried may be struggling with gambling addiction. So you might have noticed various signs or indicators that cause you some concern for your friend or family member. Maybe they're spending too much money on gambling. Maybe you've noticed them not always being honest and truthful about how they're spending the money or how they're spending their time. You might have even noticed that their mood state and their emotional well-being is dependent on how they're doing with their gambling. If you are having concerns, I've got some advice on how to start those difficult conversations. Starting a conversation with someone that might be struggling with gambling can feel really difficult. The person themselves may not even consider that they have a problem, and discussing that with them might trigger strong emotions such as anger or denial. So this video is all about how you start those conversations and try to help the person you're talking to really hear your concerns. The first tip that I would give anyone trying to start one of those really difficult conversations is to think about the timing really carefully. Choosing a time where you and the other person are not too emotionally charged would be a good starting point. Thinking about a time where you both are available and not too distracted by the daily stresses of everyday life. The second tip I give is a communication tip that I call small mouth, big ear. What that means is the calmer and quieter you can be in how you express your concerns, the more receptive and open the other person will be to hearing you out. So that's why the smaller your mouth, the bigger the other person's ear might be. And it works in the opposite way as well. So the bigger your mouth, through volume or aggressive tones of voice, the smaller the other person's ear will be, the less likely they will be to really hear what you've got to say. The third tip I'd give to helping you have one of these really difficult conversations with someone you're concerned about is something called I statements. These are all about how you focus on how you're feeling about a situation rather than focusing too much on what the other person's doing or what the other person has said. For example, talking to someone about their gambling habits, it might be really helpful to focus on your concerns and your worries, rather than focusing in too much detail on what they are doing or what they've done. So sharing that you're concerned, you're anxious, you're worried about some of the things you noticed, rather than discussing in lots of detail what the other person's gambling habits have been, might be another way to help the person you're talking to really hear you out. The fourth tip is to stay really focused. You want to be helping the other person hear your concerns. So the focus of the conversation should be on those things and should be on the area of your concerns, which in this case may be that person's gambling habits. It can be really tempting in a heated conversation where emotions are running high to start to discuss lots of other things that cause you concern or make you feel stressed. And often that just becomes a distraction from the main point that you want to get across. So the fifth tip to approaching these difficult conversations with people you're concerned about is to think about the small steps that might help you achieve your longer term goals. So it might just feel too difficult for the other person to imagine giving up gambling forever. So it can be really helpful just to think about the smaller steps towards that longer term goal. For example, it might be that one small step would be to encourage your loved one to talk to one of our professionals through Anonymind, to think about their gambling habits and to get a neutral person's opinion on whether they do need help with their gambling behaviours. So they're the 5 tips that I'd have if you wanted to broach this really difficult topic with someone you care about. So if these tips have been helpful in encouraging the person you care about to consider in more detail whether they may have a gambling problem, we're here at Anonymind to offer further help. We're a digital platform, a website, where any member of the public struggling with gambling behaviours can access information and self-help, and can even arrange a face-to-face contact through our website with one of our psychologists or psychotherapists. So I hope you found this helpful, and good luck.